Okay, just please keep your mics off. Please keep your mics off. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Welcome to Learners Podcast. Today, we are going to have a second session of the International Islamic Finance and Economics. So I welcome Dr. Tijani from Nigeria. Sir, are you there, sir?
Thank you, Prof. I'm here.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, participants. We have already sent you the first assignment. So try to complete it within the time before its deadline, and that is, I think, it is 5th of the January. So okay, Dr. Tijani, I think you should begin your presentation for today's for this session. So please carry on, sir. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prof. Welcome to our second session, and I also welcome the participant. I think maybe you can hear me clearly over there. Our today's class, by God's grace, we are going to look at the issue related to operation of Islamic banking. In our previous class, if you may recall, we discussed issue related to what is Sharia, what is Islamic accounting, what is Islamic banking and finance, what is Islamic economics, and what is Islamic finance. Those are the areas we give a brief background and definition of it, or of such areas. But today, we are going to start with the operation of Islamic banking. The reason why we selected to go direct to the Islamic banking, because when we are moving, we are going to interact with those areas I discussed previously in our previous class. Okay, let us start with, let's start with the content of our class today. We are expecting to introduce the topic and look at the Islamic perspective on Islamic banking and finance. We are going to also discuss rationale for Islamic banking. We move forward to see what is an Islamic bank, and also the key principles of Islamic banking, why interest on debt is prohibited. Islamic versus conventional bank. We are going to discuss about the similarities and differences, which will be maybe in our subsequent class, but we are going to highlight more on this issue highlight briefly on this issue of similarities and differences of Islamic bank and conventional financial institution. Okay, let us look at the introduction first. When we look at the Islamic bank, when we say Islamic bank, what is the essential feature of Islamic bank? The essentiality of Islamic bank, that is the the primary feature of Islamic bank, is all about interest-free. When we talk about the interest-free, now we bring attention of usury. We said interest-free, and we say because it's the mother of everything. Is the mother of conventional banking. When we look at the conventional banking, what they depends on interest, gambling, speculation, and uncertainty products in order to accumulate or to have their finances intact. How the conventional banking system operates, essentially, conventional system operates essentially based on riba, based on interest. Okay. When conventional banking, for instance, wanted to create a money because we have something called credit creation. When we look at the issue related to credit creation, we understand that in the conventional system, there is a stages that somebody may follow, or the conventional financial institution may follow to create money, not like an Islamic banking. How that works? Essentially, party A will look for the money, Maybe party A is the financial institution and party B is borrowing the money. So contract it's been between party A and B. But what's happened later on, one party A lends out the money to party B, for instance, to borrower.
Dr. Tijani, can you hear me? Yeah, I think there is some problem. So, dear participants, just hold on a minute. I think there is some problem from the speaker's end. So, if you have something to ask, the question related to the assignment, you may ask me. So, I hope there is no problem for any participant to receive the assignment from the Google class, because I've already shared the video with you there.
Hello? Sorry, please, can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, I just lost my connection.
Yeah, there was some problem on your end. We will do it.
May I proceed?
Yeah, you may proceed. We will do it after.
Okay. So, as I'm saying, number one, we need to look at the interest. But the interest is the initial thing why the conventional banking system is based on. How interest, we have something called credit creation. When we look at the credit creation, how credit creation developed, that is, we have a financial institution, for instance, and the subsequent, we have a borrower, person that wants a money. So the financial institution will lend the money out to a borrower, and the borrower also will look for another person to lend the money to him, and other person will look for another person to lend out the money to them. So all these channels, it has to be a certain level, or it has to be some interest addition on this. That's what we call debt interest, debt-based interest rate. So Islamic banking condemn this. Islamic banking do not accept interest rate. Let us look at the second part of what we are going to introduce today is contribution towards a more equitable distribution of income. Yes, can you hear me, Prof?
Yes, okay. yes, we can hear you. Yeah,
okay, contribution towards a more equitable distribution of income and wealth and increase equity participation in the economy. So what Islamic Bank is all about, how Islamic Bank operates is based on what? Equity distribution. That is the equitable distribution of income and wealth and increase equity participation in the economy. But the conventional banking system is not operating based on this. They are based on interest-based, or they are based on gambling, they are based on speculation, and they are based on uncertain products or uncertainties. Number three is Islam ban on interest does not mean that the capital is costless in an Islamic system. At times when we say Islam prohibits interest rates, some of the financial experts think that Islam consider money as a costless, consider money as useless. It's only something that maybe somebody can use it as a medium of exchange. Of course, that's what Islam is all about, is accepting money as a medium of exchange, but you cannot generate money on money. You are to invite asset mediating the money in order to gain money, but you cannot use money, purely money, to have money as addition or as an interest. So if you do that, we consider that one as a what? As an interest. Okay. Also, at times people condemn by saying, you guys are condemning us that we are using interest. It's not that we are using interest to exploit people or to find a difficult way to, that is to make it difficult for a human being like us to survive. It's not like that. We are trying to protect the image and the value of our money. For instance, if you look at it logically, today I have a 100 US dollars. You are not expecting this 100 US dollars to be useful and also to purchase the same amount, the same property that I'm expecting to purchase it today in the near future. For instance, you have 1 US dollars today. You can buy 1 US dollar a pack of pure water, a bottled water, for instance. So after a year, this 1 US dollar is in finance is not equivalent with what you are going to buy a bottle of water in the future, because today we are using it as a what? As a today, but in the future we know that the value of that currency will depreciate. So when the value depreciated, it means the person need to look for another thing, to add to another money, to add in order to acquire or to purchase that currency, to purchase that bottled water. So what finance experts are saying, they are saying, no, we are not, the Islamic people are thinking that we are adding this to make people vulnerable. No, we are trying to give that in order to protect the value of our currency. That's why they introduced something called present value and future value. The calculation of present and future value is there. If you calculate this, you can understand how much you are to add in order to maintain the value of your currency. If, for instance, today, please, participants can just mute their distance, please. They are distracting me, please. The participant. Okay, so what will happen here is, what we are saying is Islamic bans on interest does not mean that the capital is costless. No, the capital has a value and has a value when.
Yes, please carry on.
Okay, the capital is not costless. It means it has a value in an Islamic system. Islamic banking recognizes capital as a factor of production, but will not predetermine interest. That's what I have been explaining. I said Islam, you can use the money in order to get an asset. That asset can also be sold out to someone to get profit on it. That one, you make an asset mediator between the first buyer and the second buyer. That's what Islam promotes. But taking money and give to someone in order to expect the interest in return, that's what Islam prohibits. So in this scenario, Islamic Bank recognizes capital as a factor of production, which strongly condemn and demolish the predetermined interest. Predetermined interest, it means I will give you this, please, and later on I'm expecting you to give me 500 naira, so 500 US dollars. For instance, I'm using naira, sorry, because locally here that's what we are using. So for the international participant may not misunderstood me, please. So what I'm saying here is capital as a factor of production, but with no predetermined interest. For instance, if I take a money, giving it to you as an expert, maybe we are trying to run a mudaraba transaction between party A and party B. So we call the party A as a capital owner, Rabbul Mal, and the second party is the expert, which is Mudari. So this Mudari can accept the money from the capital owner, which is called Rabbul Mal, in order to invest in a project where they can earn profit after conclusively conclude the project. But what will happen later on, when we realize that, yes, this is what we are expecting to gain at the end of the day, it's all right. That one is nothing. We have already knows what will be at the end of the day. But in the scenario whereby you don't have a certainty, you don't have a certain amount, you are not expecting the certain amount to be given, you have no right as a capital owner to make any mandatory things on the expert, asking him that I'm expecting to return after 3 or 4 or 5 days to return 100 US dollars as a what? As a profit. If you do that, it means you fall under predetermined interest, which is prohibited. Please let us mark this. And number 5, we have instead of you, the owner of the capital can legitimately share the profit losses made by the entrepreneur. So in this scenario, for instance, if happens to be you gave him your money and he just used the money and he make profit, okay, you are going to look at the profit, how much you get it at the end of the day, maybe $200 or $300 US. So you share it according to the predetermined, please make these words clear. Let me make this word clear. Predetermined agreed percentage. You have a predetermined agreed percentage before you run into the business. Rabbul Mal, that is the capital owner, have a right to take 50% or 70%, for instance, and you as an expert, maybe you have nothing, only your energy and your expertise being used in that particular investment. So you are expecting to have something little bit, maybe something like 30% or 20%, and the 10% would be for the expenses. This is how the Islamic finance, that is the profit loss sharing, will also consider. And number 6, investors in an Islamic system have no right to determine a fixed rate of return, as I explained it previously. For instance, an investor, that one, the Rabbul Mal, that is the capital owner. Now, as an investor, somebody that wants to invest in that project, he has no right to say, yes, at the end of the day, you must bring $100 US as a what? As a profit to me. If somebody predetermined as an investor, somebody that invested into a business, asks the business owner to fix a rate of return to them, it means totally that business is not in line with Sharia compliance. That business is not a Sharia compliant business. That one is a what? Is a interest-based business. Okay. Let us look at the perspective that is on banking and finance. Islamic banking perspective and finance. What is Islamic banking? Before we explain the concept, what is Islamic banking, the elaboration of the concept, why Islamic banking is very important. Now, why Islamic banking? Why do we need to go for Islamic banking? We have conventional bank. Why do we not sufficient? Why are we not sufficient to the conventional banks? Yes, we have religious part of aspect of it, and also we have something we called not religious, but we have something that we called exploitation. The conventional banking, if we look at it critically, it seems to be the banking for a rich people. Do not capture the aspect of what? Vulnerables and those who are in need. So if we look at the Islamic banking system, we think or we see that there is a structure where the Islam has been given a banking system, how to operate and also how to accommodate the all levels. So let us look at it. It's very important. Islam is a complete code of life. As previously we explained in our previous class, that is complete way of life that provide guidance regarding each aspect of life. The primary objective of Islamic economic system are as follows. Number 1, equity distribution of wealth. When we said equity distribution of wealth, we are referring that whatever comes, it has to be distributed equally. All human beings are being in existence. They have a purpose of existence. So you are not to neglect some others in order to promote others. You are to be open others in order to promote yourself. No, what Islamic bank is all about, what Islamic economic system is all about is equal distribution of wealth. Wealth has to be equally distributed. And social justice. Number 2, social justice. So what we are expecting now from the Islamic banking system, we are expecting to move over 2 things significantly. That is equal distribution of wealth and social justice. If anyone is being neglected by any financial institution, which is called Islamic financial institution, it means the problem is not from the Islamic part of it, it's from the operators, those who manage the system. This objective may not be achieved in interest. That is in interest rate, that is interest-based system. It has no these values. It has no equal distribution of wealth, and also it has no social justice. But under Islamic banking, under Islamic economic system, these are the 2 things that are these 2 things significantly would be achieved based on free riba-based economic system. Okay, the rationale for Islamic banking. We have masalih al-mursala. When we said masalih al-mursala, we are referring to promote the welfare of the mankind in the society. When we said masalih al-mursala, that is what is base for you. That is what will promote your welfare, what will promote your benefit as a mankind in the society. So one of the rationale for Islamic banking. Two, to cater the well-being of people, worldly life and hereafter. How is it? How is that happen in this scenario? For instance, when we look at it, in our two significant area we discussed previously, that is to promote the equity distribution and social justice. If you look at it, social justice and equity distribution is being done here in worldly. Well, hereafter, initially it's been known to us when we are defining the Sharia, we say that whatever associated with interest rate or gambling or speculation or uncertainty, God, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prohibits it. And also we have seen it in the various courts, and also the Bible also supported that. So whatever you do, which you think, worldly here you have a benefit, and hereafter you have a benefit, that's what exactly you are going to look for it. That is how Islamic economic system operates. And number two, we have something called Maqasid al-Sharia. We have discussed this Maqasid al-Sharia previously, which we said is the word, is the protection of life, protection of lineages, for protection of mind, that is mind, and also protection of what we call it property, which we are discussing about the Islamic finance and Islamic economics and Islamic banking and finance under this protection of property. So the first goal of Maqasid al-Sharia is to achieve the goals and objective of Islamic law. And what are they? We have primary and secondary source of it. The primary source of Maqasid al-Sharia is to protect and preserve the faith, life, progeny, and intellect and property of people, of the society, of the Ummah. While about the second objective, which is we call al-Maqasid al-Sharia, that is the secondary part of it, is to promote justice and equity in society, as we explained it previously. It's also go ahead to promote the social security, mutual helps, and solidarity, particularly to help the poor and needy in meeting their basic needs. So people, if now you have a security, mutual help, solidarity in a society where you think people are vulnerable, I think you are deceiving yourself. For instance, now you can find around 100 vulnerables while you are the only richest person amongst you, and you are expecting the security from them. It's not possible, because they think you are not doing the fair to them, as you are not protecting their needs. So in this case, we are saying, particularly, I'm just citing that one as an example, but to promote social security, mutual helps and solidarity amongst the society, particularly to help the poor, needy to meet their basic needs, Number two, subsequently to maintain the peace and security, to promote cooperation in matters of goodness and prohibit evil deeds and actions. So definitely cooperations are creating a lot of things, are doing things that are not in line with Sharia. They are trying, that's why they have something called agency problem. Now the manager is trying to maneuver the shareholders. Holders are trying to deny the managers his right. So in that scenario, we realize there are moral hazard or information asymmetry, which lies within the cooperation. So in this case, to promote cooperation in matters of goodness and prohibit evil deeds and action. Subsequent, to promote supreme universal moral value and all action necessary for the preservation and authority of nature. So what is an Islamic bank? Again, Islamic bank or Islamic financial institution are those that are based in their objectives, operations, and product on Sharia principles. When we say Islamic financial institution, we are referring with any activity that is being carried out from that particular institution has to follow the do and don'ts, or has to follow the do and don'ts of Sharia law, has to follow the do and don'ts of Sharia compliance. If that financial institutions has an element of not following the Sharia compliance, we do not consider that financial institution as a what? As a Sharia compliance institution. And we are not referring that institutions amongst the Islamic financial institution. But all institutions that operate, operate and produce and also maintain their product based on Sharia compliance, that is the Islamic financial institution. They are set apart from the conventional banking institution, which have not such religious preoccupation. If we look at the conventional financial institution, they don't care. They don't care about your social justice. They don't care about your equity distributions. What they're all about, profit maximization, how to maximize their profit, how to gain more profit on you. When we look at it in the third bulletin, Islamic Bank provide commercial product and services which complies with the Islamic Sharia principles. Don't think that when we say the Islamic Bank, we are going to abandon the whole entire thing that conventional banking system brought. No, we are going to look at it. The one that is modifiable, we modify it. The one that is customizable, we make it with customized based on our principles. The one that it won't be, it will not be, and also it's not appropriate to be part of it, we eliminate it and we move away from it. So Islamic Bank provide a commercial products and services which complies with the Sharia principles to their customers free interest riba, which is prohibited in all transactions. So the interest, while the interest, gambling, speculation, uncertainty is not on that particular product, which is being run by commercial financial institution or conventional financial institution, the Islamic financial institution accept that. The prohibition of interest make an Islamic bank system differ from fundamental and conventional banking system. Yes, that is the interest rate, as I've been said, interest make an Islamic bank system to be different, to be totally different fundamentally from the conventional banking system, which fundamentally interest-based system. We said conventional banking system, they are fundamentally interest-based system. Okay, let us look at the key principles of Islamic banking. Number one, the prohibition of predetermined loan repayment as an interest riba. Please, before we proceed, I would like you to use your chat room. Please use your chat room to answer a question. Maybe I will ask a question. I wanted to understand the participant with us or their mind is elsewhere. Please, I wanted you, please, to look at your to answer this question through your chat room. I hope the participants are with me. The question says, what is your perspective about the essential of Islamic banking? What is your perspective about the essential system of Islamic banking? 1, equitable distribution of income. 2, free from interest rate, gambling, and speculation. 3, promote profit loss sharing, PLS. 4, consider capital as a factor of production. And 5, none of the above. Listen, let me repeat the question once again. Because of the time limitation or time constraint, we can't display it. Maybe in our subsequent class, we can do that so that you just click it. But listen to the question attentively. What is the perspective of what is your perspective about the essential system of Islamic banking? What is your perspective? What is your perspective about the essential system of Islamic banking? 1, or A, equity distribution of income. A, equitable distribution of income. B, free from interest rate, gambling, and speculation. C, promote profit and loss sharing. D, considering capital as a factor of production. And E, none of the above. Pro, please, can you unmute one person or two to hear their view?
Yeah, okay.
Those that are interested, please can raise their hand so that you unmute them. Sorry.
I can see this this Aisha Bukhar. Another one is Madhu, who was asked the question last time. So these two are unmuted. These two are unmuted. So
okay, Madhu, can I hear from you? What is your perspective about the essential system of Islamic banking? A, equitable distribution of income. B, free from interest rate gambling and speculation. C, promote profit and loss sharing. D, consider the capital as a factor of production. And E, none of the above. Which one is the correct answer, please? Madhu?
Well, he is not answering, but there is another answer from the Mustafa.
Okay.
Mustafa has given that my opinion goes to A, Mustafa Abu Bakr.
Yes, sir. Sir, hello?
Yeah, please.
Yes, sir. My opinion is go to B, free from interest, gambling, and speculation.
Okay, Prof, you can ask them to continuously.
Okay, yeah, it's okay. Anyone else? You can just type in the chat box as well. You may raise your hand as well to answer this question.
Hello. So I think they have tried. Everybody has been this thing, but the answer is B.
One is saying the C, one is saying the B, and one is saying the A.
Okay. The correct answer is the B. That is free from interest, gambling, and speculation. Thank you for the key principles of Islamic banking. Number one, like I've said, the key principle is the prohibition of predetermined loan repayment as an interest rate. Predetermined loan repayment, whatever is being predetermined by a loan giver, Islamic banking system, we consider loan as a Qardul Hasan, the cash loan. When we said cash loan, it's the money being given by someone to you. So we consider that one as a cash loan. So that cash loan, we consider it under Qardul Hasan. It has no value. It has nothing to pay additional on it. It's free from any additional thing. Number two, okay, debt-based contract. If Islam prohibits such, receiving or paying interest on debt contract is not allowed. Like security, like bond, it's not allowed. Number two, selling money for money is prohibited. Money here is just considered, is being considered as a medium of exchange, but it's nothing more than per se. You cannot sell the money and buy the money. You can sell the money and buy the money only in one condition. If, for instance, you wanted to make a change, if, for instance, you wanted to change the currency from a currency to another, which their value are totally, exchange the money because the value are not the same thing. But money, because I have a means, which is the need money, and I wanted to give to someone later on to pay me back, and I'm expecting more money on it, that one is unacceptable. As a financial transaction must be accepted back. Whatever comes in line, it has to invite asset into it before it becomes something tradable. Okay, the prohibition of gharar. When we say gharar, that is excessive uncertainty. When we say gharar, is something that you have no idea of gaining it or losing it, and you are expecting to put your money in it. Initially, investment is all about risks. But risks, there are certain limitations in risks, and there are certain permissibility of allowing risks in Islamic finance. In Islamic finance, you can allow somebody to go and invest money. So he entered to the risk, but that risk is a normal thing. It means if you are in a business, you are expecting to gain or to lose. So when you lose, it means it's what? It's normal. When you gain it, it's normal. But in a condition whereby not for anything, just you put your money and you are requiring some people to bring their money to, or you are expecting some to bring their money to and bet for some gambling. But gharar is uncertainty. You are not certain. So there are limits of certainty. Limitation of certainty is allowed. That's the example I recently cited. It means you invested your money. You don't know, maybe you are going to earn or you are going to lose. But when you earn, alhamdulillah, that is, you are very happy. But when you lose, what? You are unhappy. But that one is normal. There are certain of gharar. But where the gharar is not allowed or the uncertainty is not allowed is, for instance, let us look at the issue of maybe investing your money into a certain investment. That investment, you already know that is initially there's rating agencies, they rate the investment. So when you realize that the investment is risky and you put your money into that risky business, so that's where the problem is. But when you understand that the business is not that risky, but you put your money, you wanted to get the money to earn profit on it, that will prohibit as a gharar. And number 4, which is the prohibition of speculation behavior. Speculation behavior also is not allowed. Number 5, the promotion of profit is at the heart of the Islamic system. The Islamic system do promote this. Islamic system wanted you, I, and all of us to put our money together in order to invest in something at the end of the day to gain the profit and divide the profit amongst us. That one is permissible and also is allowed. The Islamic finance, the key Islamic banking and Islamic finance in totality promote such. Only Sharia-approved contracts are permitted. A bank or a financial institution developed a product cannot go ahead and proceed with it. They are to consult their Sharia advisors. Sharia advisory, they are the only group, they are the only society that looks at the product, investigate the project, look at it up and down, and also give the satisfactory acceptability of that product to the financial institution to run it. But failure to do that, it means your product is not in line with what Islamic finance is. Base is number 1. Money is considered as a medium of exchange, therefore not to be sold as a commodity. In this scenario, the money in a society is only considered as a medium of exchange. You buy things with it, you give, and they give you something in return. But you cannot take the money and give money. You are expecting to receive money with addition on it because it's not a commodity. Commodity, when the asset come in, that's where the money is being considered as what? As a medium, which is being considered as a commodity. That is when asset comes in. So the asset remove the money from money to commodity. But in the absence of asset, the money is not allowed to be tradable or to be sold. Number 2, money does not create a surplus value by itself. You have no reason to give money back to someone when he rented or he gave you or he borrowed or he lent out value by itself. It has to be something related to it. That's something related to it. Please, I've been emphasizing on this is assets. Number 3, income should be commensurate with work efforts. You can't just sit down and think that you have been given money and you are thinking that you are doing. You have to put some effort in that money before brings up something else. Maybe you are to render a service. You have a money, but you have a medium of rendering a services to it. So people are not paying you because of that money, but they are paying you because of the services you rendered. So that one is acceptable. Failure to do that is not acceptable under Islamic finance. Islamic and conventional banks, an overview. In order to understand the Islamic banking operation, the similarities and differences between them both need to be clear. We are going to highlight some overview, but it's not the differences in per se. We are going to make that differences clear in our subsequent class, that is next week by God's grace. But today we are just going to highlight the view and the understanding about the Islamic and conventional banking, an overview only. So today, in order to understand the Islamic banking operation, the similarities and differences between them both need to be clearly stated. Number 1, we have snap similarities. The similarity number 1 is more obvious in practice. If you look at our conventional system today and the Islamic banking today, you see no differences. They are just practicing at the same thing. There is nothing in common. That is something obvious that you can see is differ from conventional and Islamic bank. Maybe when you get into the institution, you may realize that. But practically, what I'm seeing, what all of us are seeing, we are seeing the practical issue that Islam and conventional banking, they are moving together in the same direction. 2, both banks are profit-making financial intermediaries. Yes, I am profit-making financial intermediaries. I appreciate Malaysia so much about the Islamic development, Islamic Bank. You know, now Malaysia, they have moved away from profit-making. Now they are approaching something called value-based financial institution. They are no longer profit-making financial institution. No, they are value-based. That is what is value-based. We are going to talk about that one in our subsequent classes, inshallah. So the both banks profit-making financial intermediaries. In our society now, we realize that both financial institutions, they are what profit-making. Licenses by the financial regulators, that is, they are being given license from the central bank of every country to pull money from the public. So, and also you can see where their similarities is they are all accepting money from individual to the system. What are the differences? The differences, okay, it's also a snap differences too, but we are going to discuss that one in our next class, like I've said. More obvious from the theoretical perspective, due to the religious preoccupation in the case of perspective, they are all what? They are different. Theoretically, when you look at the Islamic banking now, theoretically, you understand there are clear line demarcation between the Islamic and conventional banking due to the religious preoccupation. In Islamic bank, there are some religious preoccupation that engage Islamic bank not to associate itself with a certain things, while in conventional system, there are nothing like this. So, case of Islamic banking, there is a religious preoccupation. Number 2, we can see can be vehicle in practice, for instance, substance over form. If you look at it, in a practical form of it, for instance, when you go value, when you go for instance, collecting maybe loan from the financial institution, for instance, when you get into it, they have some things that maybe conventional system may ask you to do the cash loan you are requiring. But when you come to the Islamic bank, the first thing they may say to you is, no, we are not giving the cash, we are all giving a kind, not what? Not a cash-based transaction. Number 3, we can see some Islamic financial institutions are controversial. When I say controversial, we are going to talk about that one later too, because the controversial of Islamic banking at times, you see they maneuver system and take another way in order to grant you a loan in cash. So when you ask some students or you ask people how you say that Islamic banking is not collecting, is not giving cash-based money, they start telling you, no, we went to the bank and we collected some money from the bank or from the financial institution. So that when you come to the no, it's not, we use murabaha or tawaruk or this or that system to address such issue. We are going to talk about one later on. We have more details in discussion, and also I think it will take us a time to look at this issue, and maybe it will be very interesting when we start dipping into the system. Now we are all about introduction for you to get the clear background of what Islamic Bank is all about. I hope this presentation may be useful to some of us. Prof has some meetings and other things, so we are going to drop our listing here and to expect our next coming session, which will be about differences between Islamic bank and conventional bank. And we are going to start even making some calculations on issues. Thank you so much, Prof. Over to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Tejani. It was an excellent presentation and really very knowledgeable for every one of us who were attending the session. So there is a question from the Madhu Kime. He's saying that in the Nigeria, there is one government organization that's NECAS that gives out the loans in the form of the money and repaid in commodity. Is that permissible in Islamic economics? Thanks.
Yes, of course. If, for instance, we have something called istisna.
Can you turn off your screen, please?
On my screen? In our normal we have something we called a forward contract, which we consider is as a forward contract, but it's not. Istisna contract. Istisna contract is all about giving money to a farmer, giving money to an individual for him to go and make an investment. Later on, he pays you back with the product he harvests from the farm. So that one is allowed. If the money is being given it to you and you are invested a commodity or the farm product you harvested, that one we have no problem with it. That one is acceptable. It's been promoted by the Islamic financial institution of Islamic economic system. I hope I have answered his question.
Yeah, the wallet money.
Yes, if we talk about the wallet money, we may relate it to the digital money, which are we saying the value? Are we talking about the value? If we are looking at the value, for instance, what the money will do to you, exactly what the wallet will do to you, that one is acceptable. There is nothing in it. Because now if you wanted to make an investment, for instance, you have to put your money into it. But first of all, they have to provide a wallet for you where you keep your money. And even you don't want to, if for instance you want to give or you want to withdraw yourself from that business, the amount being invested exactly is the amount will be given it to you. So we have no problem with that. That one is acceptable. You have no issue with it.
There is another question. When a house owner give rent and accidentally fire outbreaks, I think he's talking about the insurance company, fire outbreak occurs, who take the loss?
Yeah, in this scenario, for instance, the owner of the district, this is a natural disaster. It's not something that you did it by yourself. But for instance, in the scenario whereby deliberately you form that deliberately in order just to harm the person, so in this case you are liable to pay that house, but if deliberately, so you have nothing to pay, and also the person will take care of that. Because it's a natural disaster. It's not something that you created by yourself. Thank you.
He's saying that, okay, thanks. So, okay, sir, the question that I have talked to you, regarding few more students, if they want to register in this course, from my country here in Pakistan, few of the students have communicated me they wanted to join our Zoom session actually. They can attend the video because they might be want to ask some questions and something like this. So I want that you yourself just give your point of view regarding this here in this session.
Okay. Yes, I think on it they can join our classes, and also they can join the group too. I can see the group is only Nigerians on the group, so why can't us add them so that they will be part of the session?
Okay, he's saying there's a student is saying that I want more explanation on the session because
for the next session, that's what we are going to discuss.
Yeah, participants are. They can if anyone is having they have. If some question comes to their mind, they can just in the description of the video. There is a link where you can send your queries very easily. Okay, then we will be discussing it into the next session. And in the next session, be ready for the quiz. First proper quiz, online quiz would be there at the end of the session, inshallah ta'ala, next week.
Inshallah.
So okay, Dr. Tajini and all the participants, thank you very much for coming over. And it was a very valuable, and really it is adding up into our knowledge, and we are learning a lot from this. Okay. Thank you very much. So I'm just going to end the session.
Okay, thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.